I work from the perspective that all inequality is bad. There is no such thing as good inequality. Every sort of inequality is bad for well-being, welfare, aggregate well-being. You can argue, that a bit of inequality improves educational outcomes. There are a few areas where there's some evidence, but it's pretty thin. Generally, inequality is bad of any sort. The question is, what can we do about inequality, and what cost, what price are we prepared to pay of getting rid of it? And I think that's the tough question. We've also heard during the day that there are many, many routes out of inequality. Inequality can be reduced through many, many mechanisms. You've got direct poverty reduction, you've got transfers, you've got redistribution, you've got, inclusive or labour-intensive growth. We've heard, demography. We've heard many, many ways of. So there's no one solution, and the politics of each of those sorts of inequality is actually quite different. Okay, how many of you are impacted by gender inequality? Gender. Inequality of gender. Okay, there we go. Good answer. Okay, so my pitch is for the big problem we've got to solve is gender inequality. Why? It's universal. Norway's a good place, but it's still unequal on gender. It makes numbers real. Women and men are real people. If you think about numbers, it makes you think about who they are, how they live their lives, how they experience it. When you solve gender inequality, it changes everybody's lives from kids to old people. It's politically attractive often when other sorts of inequality isn't. It changes behaviour. Often gender inequality and the relationship of gender is at the heart of people's social norms, people's behaviours, what drives behaviours. And, I think it's essentially at the heart, changing the relationship between the genders is the most transformative thing we can do, particularly in those countries where political inequalities are really hard to deal with. So that's my pitch.